This is Tomoyuki Sasaki, Associate Professor of Japanese Studies. Today I'm going to interview a new visiting assistant professor, Huang and Lai, a PhD in Japanese literature. So first, can you talk a little about your research interest?
Sure. Broadly speaking, my field is modern Japanese literature and culture. My current study focuses on the literary interpretation of Japanese colonialism in East Asia. In this study, I look at the relationship and the discourse among those in between people who were caught on the colonial boundary under Japanese colonial rule. Specifically, I examine the colonial travelers, writers, and performers and see how they viewed, interpreted, and engaged with the Japanese colonial discourse and practices. In my research, I try to demonstrate the different and the various colonial conversations between the people who contested the boundary of Japanese colonialism through literature, culture, and film. Also, I am also very interested in doing a comparative study between performers and literature in transnational Asia. I want to see how cinema and literature as two distinctive genres shed light on political, social, and literary transformation in East Asia from about 1930s to the present. So one example in my study is Kurosawa Akira's Rashomon. It is an adaptation of Akudawa Ryunosuke's two short story, Rashomon and Yaburonaka, or in English in Grove. The film not only had a great impact on the film industry at that time, but the receptions in East Asia has already given new meanings to the term Rashomon in the new social and historical context.
Okay, thank you. So how did you develop this research interest?
This is a very interesting question. And long story short, I was born in Taiwan, and when I was a college student, I remember there was a park near my home, and I sometimes passed by the park. And one time I noticed that there was a small tomb with a Japanese name on it in a secret corner of the park. And I was curious who is this person. And after I did a little research on the name, it turns out that it was the name of the 7th Governor General of Taiwan, Akashi Motochiro. And this is probably the very first moment that I developed interest on this topic in Japanese colonial studies. And after I went to graduate schools, I read many books and was more and more interested in understanding what happened during the colonial period. So this is probably the beginning of developing my interest.
All right, thank you. So you mentioned Kurosawa's Rashomon, and can you recommend one good literary work or film for those who are interested in pursuing your knowing more about your research interest?
Sure. So I would definitely recommend a film. Probably one of my all-time favorites. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, or in Japanese, Senjo no Merry Christmas. The director is Oshima Nagisa, and it also starring some famous actors like Pito Takeshi and the recent past rock star, what's the name? David Bowie. Yeah.
Sakamoto Ryuichi.
And also Sakamoto Ryuichi. And the film not only talks about the issue of POW during the World War II in Indonesia, but it also touch upon some conflict between the West and the East, as well as the conflict between different religions, different cultures, and also between the Japanese and Europeans. And we can see a lot of also a lot of issue about gender and sexuality from the film.
Thanks. So, few questions about your teaching. And this semester you're teaching Writing Empire course. So, can you talk a little about how you are actually bringing your research to the classroom?
Sure. So, for me, and I think for most teachers, it's always a good way to discover new ideas through teaching. And I think it's very helpful to work with a student and have some brainstorms. I teach the students the basic knowledge and also previous studies, as well as my personal interpretation of the topic. And I found that they always responded with some new idea which I never thought about before. So, for example, in my Writing Empire course, we look at the development of Japanese and colonial identity through literature during the first half of the 20th century. And throughout the semester, we read works written about the Japanese Empire by the colonial Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Okinawans writers. And we look at the different representations of the empire and also examine the concept such as assimilation, complicity, and resistance in the context of Japanese colonialism. So the students were also able to study the binary notions of colonizer and the colonized. They also we can also learn the reality of the colonial complicity from the readings and throughout the course.
Okay. So, what kind of literary works are you assigning? Can you just give us some examples?
Yes, sure. One readings I highly recommend is Orphan of Asia, or in Japanese Aji no Koji, written by a great Taiwanese writer Wu Zhuoliu. It was originally written in Japanese, and from the literature we can see the hardship and difficulty that the colonial Taiwanese experienced during the colonial period under Japanese rule.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.